Welcome to the CoDaKrew podcast, match week 30 predictions for the Premier League. Our scores from last episode, as well as our scoring system, are on screen now. And somehow, last episode, we managed to tie yet again. We also missed a week, so we're going to add 10 to each of our scores. And so right now, coming into this match week, we are on 105 to 105. So, let's get right into it.
Okay, then we can start at Brentford, who will surely be frustrated after that late loss against Brighton, but perhaps they can hold on better for the full 90 minutes against Burnley at home. What do you think?
Well, I will say this feels like a very predictable match to me. Burnley, we just saw them absolutely fail to do anything against Chelsea. The worst part of it wasn't that they played necessarily really badly, but that once again they were completely unable to convert decent chances into goals. I think they probably should have gotten at least a point. I would argue that they possibly even looked better during the first half. And Brentford, while obviously, they really only have two ways of scoring, and one of them maybe is not going to be the most useful against a team that parks the bus. They have Prem experience, and they're at home.
Yeah, looking at Brentford with their last game, actually, generally, I think they've been on good form. They've brought lots of energy to their games, and I do feel that they continued that at Brighton. Took the lead through a very well constructed goal, slick hold up play from Thiago, and good energy from Ouattara as well. And for long stretches, I think they contained Brighton well. So I think Keith Andrews will be very frustrated that in that last 20-minute spell, where Minte completely took control on Brighton's right side, Brentford basically had all their work just undone. They did still create some chances late on, but it is a bit of a disappointment that they had two pens and still came away empty-handed. But still, I think there's a lot of positives to take away with their form. And yeah, against Burnley, who were not much of a threat against Chelsea, I think Brentford will be pretty well off at home.
Yeah, I agree. I think, look, Brentford, I would say, have been surprisingly consistent this season. Uh, I think the only way you can beat them is if you have a very consistent offense, which Burnley just don't. You have to make sure that you're not conceding in transition. You have to make sure that your midfield is quite solid. And Burnley, I think, also do not have a strong defense to aerial threats, which against the long throw in that Michael Coyote is going to be putting in throughout the match, it's going to be quite difficult, I think, for Burnley to stay up. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a lot to say for this one.
Yeah, and the other thing is, because like you said, in that first half, they were decent against Chelsea, but they couldn't turn it into a goal. So can they actually bring that energy and make it into a goal this time? I think Brentford's back line can be a bit more exposed in transition, so Burnley have a better opportunity here, but they still need like much cleaner execution from Anthony, from Fleming to make those moments count. And at the same time, I talked about Thiago and his hold up play. Burnley have struggled against physical forwards all season, and I think they're going to struggle here. So I feel like it's another match where they will start with some energy, but soon enough, they will just end up defending with no other purpose in the match. And I'm gonna say Brentford score, and Burnley don't really get anything more than a half chance on goal. So it'll be a 1-0 Brentford win for me.
Yeah, Brentford, one goal off a throw in, don't concede. Brexit means Brexit, 1-0 Brentford.
Yeah. In that case, we go on to City, who might be feeling the pressure now because it's two straight defeats, and they are at home against a bottom three Leeds side, but it does suddenly feel like they can't really mess around with this game. They do have to take it a bit more seriously now.
It's quite odd because for whatever reason they're taking this game more seriously than they did in the UCL match they just played a few days ago. They basically played a reserve squad here. You would think, oh, they're doing that because they have to play Liverpool or Arsenal or Chelsea or whoever in the Prem, but no, it's Leeds at home. With all due respect to Leeds, of course. Um, Obviously, last match against Newcastle, Erling Haaland essentially just did not have a good game. And what that goes to show is something we've been talking about for a while now. This City squad is so over reliant on Erling Haaland. He's the only player still, I believe, that has scored more than one goal in the Premier League for the squad. And even the other players that can fit the system well, like a Bernardo Silva, Ryan Cherky, they still play around him, which means they still need him to score.
Yeah, dude, it's a lot for one guy to take care of, just Holland. And I said it before, is like as well as he's been doing, they can't win the title just off of Holland and his scoring. Arsenal are too good, and we'll talk about them at the end of the video, but they have so many scoring threats from everywhere on the pitch. You can't just rely on your one striker. And I know they're creating good chances, and I know he's very consistent, but it's just not enough. Really, it's just not. Um, and as for the game against City, the game against Newcastle, I feel like the scoreline flatters City a bit because there were some real gaps in their performance. They had possession, but they repeatedly lost their defensive stability in the transition. Barnes, Murphy, Ultimata all found space too easily, and they didn't have Rodri to tighten the midfield, so they looked open in moments where they would usually be airtight. And I think Rodri is not here for this next game either. Again, it is against Leeds. Maybe he's not needed. But you do have to wonder for games against better opposition, especially, if he doesn't come back, what is that going to look like? Will they be able to keep the same control over the ball, over the game that they would hope for, so that they can then find those chances to get balls to their other attackers besides Holland, not have to worry about just pumping up long balls the entire game?
Yeah, and speaking of why that scoreline was so flattering for them, I think another part of that is Donnarumma, right? Once again, by the way, yes, losing to Newcastle, but I believe I don't know if he overperformed his expected goals on target, but certainly that's what the eye test would suggest to you. And I really think there are a lot of games now where Donnarumma has either bailed them out or made the scoreline more flattering than it perhaps should be. And going into this match, I think that's going to be a big advantage because Leeds just played a match against Aston Villa that they definitely should have gotten at least a draw in, if not a win. And because they were up against a relatively decent keeper, more than decent, a good keeper, and I mean Martinez, and Leeds is who they aren't able to capitalize on that. So I'm worried that they're not going to be able to take advantage of very possibly some good opportunities they're going to be getting against a questionable City side.
Yeah, and with Leeds, I mean, I think it's been a very familiar pattern for them with that game versus Villa. They had an explosive opening. They did find an early goal, sharp finishing from Nmecha, aggressive pressing, but then like just as the game wore on, you could see that Villa's technical quality was much superior, and it was telling, and Leeds just gradually lost control. Morgan Rogers, he was drifting into pockets, which the Leeds team struggled to track. He had that amazing free kick. The kind of moment that Leeds would really hope that they can produce themselves, that bit of individualism, which they have not quite found very often this season. And they would still hope to find at least a goal through good team play. But again, just over the game, they lost the cutting edge to actually get that done. And it hurts, really, because Elland Road has been their main source of points this season. They are quite strong at home. It wasn't a performance without positives, but I think it is a worrying trajectory for them. It is, what, like 5 losses in 6 now? Big drop offs in energy and just not enough belief in the final third to give themselves like an actual comfortable position in any of their games.
If you're a Leeds fan right now, I think you have to be worried because at some point, sure, yeah, like they went off to a good start, but the relegation gap is going to keep narrowing. All the teams are going to start catching up besides Wolves, and I think the Premier League is just so unforgiving now. Everybody is decent that if you just start slipping for a few match weeks, it's basically over. You can just like that. Like this is what happened to my team last year. You can start out the season well. You can stay out of the relegation zone until December, but then once you're in, you might never go back out again for the rest of the year. And that's unfortunately, it looks like Leeds and Burnley are going on the same trajectory as Ipswich and Leicester last year right now. And so that obviously very concerning sign. As for this match, I think the one thing that they might have to their advantage is they are pretty decent at corners, and that is relatively speaking at least Donnarumma's I think biggest weakness. So I could definitely still see them scoring a goal off of that. But overall, again, remember Man City resting several players for this match. They're going to dominate. I'll say City 3-1 win.
Yeah, fair enough. I have the same margin. I'm going to give them a 2-0. I know they have looked loose lately, City. I do think Rodri's absence has been felt sharply. We saw it versus Newcastle, saw it versus Leverkusen, and Leeds will try to sprint into those gaps the same way. But unlike Newcastle or even Leverkusen, I think Leeds, they just can't sustain those little jolts of pressure. They are jolts. Like, they don't last for long enough. They never have a full spell of control. They're just always on edge. And yeah, I don't think they'll find the momentum to actually end up with a strong chance that leads to a goal. And so I'm going to say it's a 2-0 to City.
Well, then, speaking of some teams that maybe didn't have the best week last time, last match week, another two teams that I think a bit that definitely underperformed, I would say, Sunderland and Bournemouth.
Yeah, Sunderland. It's weird. This game just did not really feel to me like what Sunderland has been playing like as of late. Like their usually reliable compactness just did not travel. Uh, the five-man backline did hold for long stretches, but then their rhythm also never really clicked. They just didn't have the control over the game that they usually do. The midfield, which is usually very key to their play, of course they have Shaka there to try and dictate the game, wasn't quite able to do that. And so they looked
I wouldn't
stretched.
blame the midfield so much, actually.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. But like I think generally they looked stretched despite the numbers behind the ball, and they got repeatedly dragged into awkward positions. I don't know exactly who to blame for it, but ultimately that is what they looked like. They weren't very cohesive, I think, which is what you'd kind of expect from this team up to this point. And so they're gonna want just a more assertive structure here. I don't know what to say. It's just not necessarily a tactical thing. Even I just feel like they had an off day, and they didn't play as best as they could have, and they were just kind of all over the place in that last game. So I would just
Yeah,
hope they get it together
my
here.
interpretation is I think Sunderland maybe got a bit too hyped for their britches. I think the defense was really caught sleeping. That was the main issue.
Yeah.
Transition not looking sharp enough, but even then, like, I still think Trey Hume played his part, for example. I still think, Enzo Lefebvre played his part. But yeah, the defense is caught sleeping several times. It feels like now that Sunderland are clearly not going to be relegated. There's almost like this sense of security that's coming in here. I don't want to say they're happy to just stay up. I know recently we had a video that went semi-viral, and we had Sunderland fans saying anything from "I'll just be happy if you get 40 points" to "Y'all should have known we were going to finish top four." So I don't really know like what the mindset for the players are right now, but that is a little bit worrying for me.
Yeah, and I mean I've said before, I think we agree Labrie has been amazing this season tactically. And I don't really have any specific corrections for him still. I do think Sunderland at this point have earned the right to stay loyal to their identity. They've played really well in this tactical plan that they've had, and I
They're not
think
like title contenders. You can drop a game here and there. It's
right,
fine. It's
yeah,
not like
I think it's not a big cause for concern that they drop one game here, and so there needs to be some big fix, some big change made to their structure. But what they really cannot repeat is that passive spell they had after halftime against Fulham. They conceded too many second balls, invited sustained pressure from the other side, and that would be worse against Bournemouth because Bournemouth have some real attacking intensity. They have lots of sources of good chances at goal. That's just not going to do. They cannot fall out. Like they can't drop off for a whole half. They'll have a much worse time than they did against Fulham.
but that's the issue, right? Because speaking of Bournemouth now, they can create a lot of good chances. In fact, against West Ham, 4.05 xG via 0.65, but you don't win. You did not win the match. I know Justin Kluivert was injured and Antoine Semenyo was injured, but I feel like in the past we've praised this team a lot for the diversity of attacking options, but nobody stepped up, or at least nobody was able to finish in that match. Uh, Part of it was Areola was great, but like listen, I don't rate the guy, so I don't want to give him credit. So I'm just gonna instead say the Bournemouth attack is not good enough. Um, I think Clivert is still not gonna be back for this match. I think Anton Semenyo, if I recall correctly, is doubtful as well. So yeah, a lot of question marks coming into this match for both sides. But Bournemouth's whole identity is offensive, right? So they love the counter-attacking football. They'll play a high line. This is like their whole bread and butter. So just like for Sunderland, it's concerning when their defense starts to falter. I'm concerned by Bournemouth's performance against West Ham.
Yeah, I do think they were unlucky to concede 2 goals from 2 great shots by Callum Wilson, but like, yeah, you're right. For 4 xG and the chances they did get, I do think they could have scored more, given themselves a more comfortable lead. And yeah, they were the better side for long stretches in that last game. But I thought it was a decent performance, but 1 point is 1 point. They didn't do quite enough to secure three for themselves. And I don't know. They do have decent attacking options here. If Semenyo does come back, I know it doesn't seem likely that he will. Like, I give it maybe a 40% chance he shows up for this game. That could be helpful for them. I know also Semenyo has been a bit off as of late, compared to before when he was getting like braces and hat tricks. Then again, you can chalk that up to they
Right,
have
but
other attackers.
I mean, he didn't play last in this match,
Yeah, I
but
know. So he's well because he's been off injured. I know in the last game or two before he did go off, he was kind of iffy. But
sure.
I don't know. We'll see. Does he come back? Is he in good form? It could make obviously a big difference. It's like you said. It's hard to say with this team right now because attacking is their identity and their main attacker is questionable if he'll even be here. Last match, the other backup guys didn't do quite so well. So I don't know. It's hard to predict anything here. I think I'll just go into my score. I think Bournemouth will find a lot of chances, but I think they'll still have some finishing issues. And Sunderland will exploit the openings and what chances they do get, they'll take them better. So it's going to be a 1-1 draw for me.
I don't know how to predict this match, honestly.
Yeah.
Too many, like, so many unknowns. We've just laid this out. I would just say, Stadium of Light tax, Sunderland 2-1 win, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Home advantage is really good for Sunderland, actually. I can't blame you for that.
All
Okay.
right, well, Everton vs Newcastle. Um, two teams that, on the flip side, I would say had pretty good last match weeks. Uh, yeah, where do you want to start with that?
I mean, I do think it's a little hard to judge Everton's win. It's not perhaps for Everton, it's not too far off a play style they might be used to playing, but with the very early red card, something I mean they'd hope they'd never have to deal with again, never have to consider that for another game. They did have to go pretty heavy on the defense, but I think they really did play it well. They became more compact, more focused. They were more willing to work for every yard, and that center back pairing was also immense, repeatedly repelling United's attempts to force any momentum. They had wide rotations, long switches, none of it worked. And then there was Dewsbury Hall, who, of course, he scored that winner, but even outside that shot, he was exploiting any and all space that United gave him between their midfield and the defensive line. So he did good. I think Everton were maybe a bit lucky that he did do good because, again, basically everyone else had to focus on defense first and foremost. But yeah, it's hard to judge again because they had 10 men for most of the match, but with 10 men, they did really well. And I know Amarim said, I think he said they were the better team, or at least on par when they had 11.
Yeah,
So,
but
yeah.
and when they had 10, and when they
Yeah,
had 10.
and when they had 10, they were at the minimum on par with United. I mean, they held on for the win, right? It's I can't say it was a bad performance. They got the win with ten guys on the field.
I mean, yeah, like, when the other team wants to play a five back when you're a man down, like, you take advantage of that. You're not going to complain about that. What makes it hard for us is that, like, a big question coming into that match was, is Jack Grealish back, right? Are we going to see prime Ilman and Jai? And now it's hard to say after the international break because we don't obviously get a good picture because of what happened. So coming into here, I mean, my assumption is, Grealish and Njai are going to have good games. Obviously, we know how good Dewsbury Hall is. Um, the team is just generally quite solid. I mean, I know like even with Adrissa Gay now out for red card, they're gonna bring in like Iribunum. I'm not worried about Everton depth wise.
Yeah, I think the roster is all around pretty strong. Unfortunate that they do have to deal with. I'm pretty sure Gay now is on suspension, but yeah, I think they're looking pretty good. And yeah, Newcastle are also looking pretty good, coming off of what is really, I think, their most significant win of the season so far. They were brave out of possession against City, aggressive in the duels, strong in the transitions, and Barnes's brace will obviously draw the headlines. But I think the biggest plus here was they had a great midfield dynamic. Guimaraes dropping into the six role and Tonali pushing higher. They had cleaner out balls, better resistance when City was pressing, and sharper spacing. I think all around the midfield was really great. And it allowed them to put up a pretty strong attack because the forwards did not have to worry about what was going on behind them. It was very stable. Some very assertive front foot defending from Tiaw as well. Not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but his
I think that
handling
was
of
right.
yeah, his handling of Holland was great, and that allowed as well the fullbacks to play higher without too much worry and cut off City's wing progressions. And so even with long spells spent without the ball, Newcastle, they looked very composed and they never seemed overwhelmed. Most of the stuff that City could throw at them, they were able to cut off. And being comfortable on and off the ball is a great place to be, and it leaves them looking pretty good.
Yeah, Malik Tia, 7 clearances and 6 recoveries in that match against Manchester City. For some context, the thing with Newcastle though is we've seen this all season. I don't think they have a home win yet in the Premier League. We'll look at the smooth, silky Voltamade perfectly orchestrating the squad. The midfield is so solid every time they're at home, and then they go on the road, and then all of a sudden they throw up a stinker, right? So I think I think they were away from home against Marseille as well in the Champions League midweek, and that did not go so well either. So, I think there's a lot of question marks about this Newcastle squad whenever they're going away from home. And Everton is obviously just not a good place. Is this not like an ideal place to play from away from home? I still have question marks about Newcastle. They sort of have to prove me wrong if I'm going to back them too much away from home.
Yeah, I think they need to just play patient, try and sustain the pressure. I know they had a lot of guys who really rediscovered their confidence in transition. You had like Joe Linton, Murphy, Barnes, of course. Voltemada had big moments running into open space, but they need to be careful because Everton can also play well on the transition. We talked about Dewsbury Hall, very strong in that phase of the game. And so, yeah, Everton will probably be sitting deeper and they will want to force Newcastle into slower, less fluid possession. Sorry. And so I think Newcastle, they just need to be careful, patient, um, not go too hard on the attack, basically. Because I don't know. Everton have some threats, and I feel like they're quite unpredictable in how they play. And so I don't know what to say. It's another game for me that's kind of hard to predict, to be honest. And
Yeah, I'm
when
gonna.
I see a
Yeah,
game that's hard to predict, do you know what scoreline I toss at
2-1 CoDaKrew Classic, or a 1-1
Actually,
draw. I don't know.
yeah, or a 1-1 draw, which is what I had
Well,
here.
yeah.
2-1
Okay, I
also
see. I
works.
see.
In
Yeah,
this
sorry.
case,
For you, you do the 1-1. For me, I do the 2-1.
yeah. In,
Right.
in
So
this
Everton 2-1 win
case,
for me, of course.
I think Newcastle, they look the more fluid side, but Everton's shape is just difficult to break, and Dewsbury Hall can be a very great threat on the counter to keep the game tight. And so I think it'll be a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, as I just said, 2-1 draw for 2-1 win for Everton is my scoreline. I know Anthony Gordon, I believe, got injured in that Marseille match. I don't know if he's going to be back or not. Trippier, I think, also still a question mark. So yeah, I'm just going to play it safe. Well, another win for the home side with a team that has a famously strong home atmosphere. Kind of crazy to see a connection there. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, then next we have Tottenham versus Fulham. It is, yeah, I don't know because Fulham are obviously no Arsenal, but like when you get pounded 4-1. Even against Arsenal, I do think with that game that they had, they have to be a bit concerned about form, I feel like. I know Tottenham, they've got lots of injuries going, and that's part of it, but can they stay stable with this roster that they've got right now? I don't know.
I want to hear what your take is first because again, this got de-slapped by
Yeah,
PSG in the UCL.
that's also true.
Um,
Yes.
Man, to get cooked by the guy you thought you were gonna sign, and he scores a hat trick against you in the biggest derby of the year. You know, not
It's
great.
what was that other game where Tottenham was basically making no chances at all? Was it Chelsea? Because they
Yeah, it was
had
Chelsea.
really terrible
Absolutely just
XG,
cooked.
and then I'm seeing I think SofaScore set for this one was it point it was like 0.07 is what I saw for that Arsenal game. Um
Dude,
they
they didn't okay, y'all. Tottenham, forget shot on target. They did not get a shot in the first half.
they
Like,
they
yo,
just looked so
yo.
disjointed, honestly, for the entire 90 minutes even. And they switched to a back three. It was meant to stabilize them, but I mean, it just deepened their retreat. You had Udogi and Poro pinned back so deep that Spurs were essentially defending with a back seven, and they were not winning their duels. They had complete absence of progression through the midfield and near zero attacking threat. I mean, yes, SofaScore says 0.07 XG. So it was a side that was they were unsure of what their structure should be, and they were even less sure of how they should escape the pressure. And I mean, of course, again, Fulham are not going to put on the same amount of pressure or the same consistency of pressure that Arsenal do. But again, they just played so dog shit in this game that it's like I have to be concerned even against Fulham, who are toward the bottom of the table, who have like okay at best form. I have to be concerned what's going to happen here for Tottenham.
This is where I disagree with you. See, this is why I wanted you to go
Really?
first because I
Okay.
had a feeling we were going to disagree on this point. If I'm like looking at Thomas Frank, I actually don't see why I should be concerned right now with Tottenham because from preseason we knew that these guys are just not good enough to compete. The Thomas Frank system is not good enough to compete against the strong teams. I remember like during in a friendly getting de-slapped 3-0 by Bayern Munich. So I'm sorry, like of course you guys are going to get absolutely destroyed by all of the good teams whenever you face them. But that's not how Thomas Frank played. Like he got a lot of praise at the start of the season for how consistent he had this Tottenham squad playing because against the mid-table teams, against the upper mid-table teams, against the in the winnable games, the ones that matter to Tottenham because they're also another one of those teams that right now is not trying to win the Premier League. He's been incredibly consistent, and I don't have a reason to doubt him.
Okay. Yeah, I can't blame you. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to win against Arsenal, obviously. I do think that game was like particularly bad is all. Um
Or maybe Arsenal's particularly good, but yeah.
I mean, okay, 0.07 XG is like I don't think we can justify this. I'm sorry to say.
Okay,
But
you're right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well,
for
that's
like
that's what you get when you sign Xavi Simmons instead of fucking Eberechi Eze. Like,
but again, fortunately, Fulham is not Arsenal, and I think they can be pretty happy with their performance against Sunderland. Uh, the whole team put in good work, which eventually got them a well-deserved late goal from Jimenez. But I don't know. They had, I think, a lot of control in that game. Came up with ultimately one goal because each of their attackers, I feel like, does not pose too much of a threat. Collectively, they're good enough for one goal. Against Sunderland,
but they should have probably gotten more, right?
yeah, they should have. And so scoring for them, just finding a goal is going to be very much a doubt for me against Tottenham.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like Rodrigo Muniz is still injured, by the way. So yeah, I mean that's a perfect example. I think they definitely should have gotten more than one goal against Sunderland, and you're not going to get those same opportunities if what we've seen from Thomas Frank for the entire start of the season before November, when now everybody's hopping on the bandwagon, shitting on Tottenham again because it's in vogue, they were incredibly solid defensively. So if that is any indication, then Fulham will not get a lot of chances. And if what we've seen from Fulham so far continues to be the case, that probably means they're not going to score. So for me, like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm not going to press the panic button on Thomas Frank until he starts losing games that Tottenham shouldn't be losing. And that hasn't happened yet this season. If we're just going to be realistic about the quality, the level of talent, all of the injuries that Tottenham are dealing with right now, I don't think it's reasonable to expect them to finish top four this season. So, just based on what we have right now, and I don't direct this at you, I'm more so directing this at like fucking football social media. 2-0 Tottenham. Until proven otherwise, I'm going to continue
Yeah.
trusting Thomas Frank.
Yeah, I also have a 2-0. And it could be a 1-0 for me, but yeah, I do think their defense is held up, and I don't expect Fulham to score. I don't think Tottenham will let that up. I don't think they've shown that they will let up goals against uh opposition like Fulham. They're not like Liverpool, who at the start of the season we were just going score, score, score. Doesn't matter how much you let up if you can score at least one more. Um, Tottenham are not like that. I think they're pretty defensively solid, and yeah, 2-0 as well.
Yeah, okay. Well, then that brings us to the next match. Crystal Palace against Manchester United, you know? The darlings of Europe just won the Carabao Cup. Everybody's favorite, the least hated team in the Premier League, against maybe the most hated team in the Premier League in Man United.
Okay, so Palace, they were against Wolves.
I
Of
feel like I know
course,
what
they
you're gonna
weren't.
say.
What do you mean?
I think I know what you're gonna say, but go ahead and say it.
Okay. I mean, they weren't in any rush to score. I thought they did a good job, as you would expect, against Wolves, just to be clear. They brought them out of shape, and Mateta had his early miss, but it didn't really rattle them
There it
because,
is. There it fucking is. What
yeah,
did I say last
Mat-
episode about
Mateta.
John Philippe fucking Mateta? And then this guy gets yet another one-on-one opportunity against Sam fucking Johnstone, and he can't even hit the target, let alone score. Sell this man. Sell
Mateta.
this man.
Mateta. And I think Palace, they played well. They looked like they'd find their opening eventually, but I don't think Mateta was contributing too much there. Um,
He wasn't contributing anything.
yeah,
This is not
like
contributing. But yeah, no shit.
like it's Wolves. You should be scoring at least one, preferably multiple.
I think just,
But again,
bro. I'm sorry. Like the average Premier League striker scores that opportunity,
right.
right? Like he's contributing negative to the team the way I see it because he's a target.
This
Like
is. Oh
okay,
wait, this is the. If we were to pull in a baseball stat, what is his wins above replacement?
bro,
Mateta.
this guy has a negative wins above
Negative
replacement.
wins above replacement.
Obviously, I mean the equivalent to that is he overperforming or underperforming his xG, and he's underperforming his xG massively this season.
Yeah. Um. I again with everyone else, I feel like they were finishing pretty well. Kamada had his shot not long after Matetas. It was like 0.05 xg, and he got 0.49 xgot. Forced a strong save. Good shot that Munoz got off as well and bagged them the opening goal, and a beauty from Pino. Not a strong chance, but again taken very well. But again, Mateta not taking his chances very strongly. And so I think Palace's offense they can do well. It's just not going to be because of their striker. That's all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and the duality of that. Who created that chance? Beautiful long ball. Adam fucking Wharton. 8 long balls in that match. Absolute conductor. He is the GOAT, right? This is the man dragging Palace through the finish line, making sure that without Eberechi Eze, soon to be without Mark Gahey, and playing without a striker, essentially, this man is going to make sure that Palace continue to be good against teams. He will make Yeremy Pino look like the chosen one. He is going to make Ismail Assar look like Neymar. All right, so at least Palace still have one secret weapon on this team, and against a Man United side who I think Casemiro was suspended. Bruno does not know how to track back. Um, I don't know if I think potentially Amrin will be too stubborn to play Kobe Manu. We'll see. Uh, I wouldn't be feeling too bad if I were Crystal Palace.
Yeah, they will find their chances. And as for United, they should have found more chances in that last game. Uh, Played in basically an entire match against 10 men, but the passing sequences were disjointed. The tempo never rose high enough to properly use the numbers advantage, and though they took a lot of shots, their shot selection was not great. Too many attacks in good areas that just dissolved into sterile possession or low percentage crosses. And I remember, like, of the good shots, Bruno had a long ass shot outside the box before the half. I'm not sure what the XG was on that. Mbuemo got a decent one off around the 60th, then a very strong save for Xerxes' header, and that's it. Three good shots out of 25. I know some people were complaining about Amring being too rigid, sticking to the five defenders, like you said earlier, despite being a man up. But I don't think that was the big issue. Their attack just did not create enough good chances to get past Pickford.
Well, I think the bigger issue is, you know, sure, play your system, but like you should understand, you should have better man management. Like we play Mazraoui, for example, as a right wing back, when you need to defend crosses. But when you're playing against Everton, who have 10 men, drop Ahmed back and put on another attacker, right? That's more so what I'm trying to say. You can play the 3-4-3, but like you need to be adaptive. I mean, it's a very adaptive system, right? You need to be able to work within that, and we haven't seen Amrin do that
I
as
mean,
much as I would like this
this is
season.
this is what people say about Amram, right? He's stubborn. I
Right.
mean, this is
But
what
it's
people
but
have
it's
been saying.
beyond. It's not just the formations. Like it's not just the formation that's stubborn.
Right.
Is my point.
Yeah, he just doesn't make the changes when he needs to. Um, yeah, I feel like a lot of it you can put down to Amram's tactics, and so I mean, is he gonna open up
Man, we were
to
just
like
praising this guy too, man.
Yeah, that's the thing because we can say that, oh, bring Mainu on. That's a great idea. Is he gonna do that? We can't decide that for him, right? So we know how good these certain players are in certain positions, but it is ultimately up to him to decide if he's gonna make those changes. Um, and for United, they need to be really careful with the midfield because otherwise, with Adam Wharton for Palace, um, letting him dictate without any resistance would just create the same problems they had against Everton. They'd have to play that same long ball cross it in strategy that they for some reason used so heavily in their last game. Also,
Yeah, good
uh,
luck doing that against Palace's defense.
yeah,
Like,
it's not working, man. Against 10 man Everton, it didn't work out. It's not going to work out against Palace, so there have to be changes there. And the other thing is, be a bit more decisive around the box. That's not even like a tactical thing necessarily. It's just there were too many half chances that went begging because the final touch lacked any clarity. And I guess try and find a goal early because if United let the game drift, Palace will not hesitate to take it away from them. They can score quickly too. So there has to be urgency from the opening whistle, not just in the second half, which is basically what they had against Everton.
another another point that we made when we were praising Amrin a while back is that like the attackers are finally starting to reach their rhythm. But when Šeško and Cunha are injured, uh, and it's just Embuemo, I think that was a large part of the issue. Like the second string, let's say, of the front three, I just think, as you're saying, don't really have the attacking instinct, the wherewithal when to shoot. For example, like I think Eze, perfect masterclass in that like very specific thing exactly, against Tottenham. We just don't see that with Mason Mount. Like he has his role on his team, but that's just not it, right? Ahmed, like you need to give him space, right? This is the thing. Like when do you play him as a wing back versus when do you play him in the front three? And in such a constricted system, this is where I would have rather have him overlapping in Buemo rather than just being out on the left basically by himself. Obviously, no support from fucking they subbed on Diogo Dallo in the second half. Like, it's fucking questionable what's going on out there in at Manchester United.
Yeah, I'm just gonna call this because again, I think Amram's not gonna change too much immediately, and so United will probably see a lot of similar issues to what they were looking at versus Everton. And Palace, they are pretty strong defensively as well at home and away. So again, whatever they were trying against Everton is absolutely not going to work here. And meanwhile, on the other end, United have not been great at keeping goals out away from home. Five let in the time that Shen Lamens has played for them so far. He's been pretty good
Not
at
his
home.
fault, I would say though. He's
That's
still
also fair.
still overperforming expected goals on target significantly.
That's
To be
true.
clear.
But if not him, then the defense, right? So ultimately, those goals are still ending up in the net. And I think Palace just play it out patiently because with Wharton there to dictate and their forwards also finishing besides, well, okay, at a higher level than in earlier weeks, besides, again, Mateta, who has been not great with finishing the whole time, but his teammates are better, so that's at least a plus for them. So Palace can play better just as the match goes on. We saw that already against Wolves, and I think yeah, they'll find as many goals as they need to win this. If Cunha doesn't come back for Man U, I'm gonna say it's a 1-0. But assuming he does, I will say it is a 2-1. I think Man U will have a bit more attacking threat that way, and so Palace will need to work a bit more, but I still think Palace get the win in the end.
Yeah, I'm also gonna go for 2-1 for Palace. Like, just prototypical win for them. I feel like, right? I will say I think they've had a little bit of a regress from their absolute peak. I think we could definitely see, like, if there is some amount of smartening up. I still think my prediction, by the way, is still um that Kobe Manu will start because he did get significant minutes in the second half in that match after Casemiro got his yellow card. And dude, Ugarte's just not good, man. So I definitely think like him, like an Ahmed, like an Embuemo, they can create a chance here and there. I don't want to say break down, but I think they will get something. I think they will score a goal. But this Palace offense is just too strong, and United's midfield presence is just not there, especially in transition.
Yeah, fair enough. Is that then you also have a what was the
Yeah, I
score?
also have
A
a
two
2-1.
one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, we move on now to we've got one team who's still on pretty good form and another one that is we don't like to
New
talk
manager,
about
same
them usually.
problems.
Yeah.
New manager, same
Okay,
problems.
let's start with Villa and we'll see if we have anything for the other team afterward.
Look, Emi Martinez. I keep talking about this guy. He's really not washed. Like, I don't know what to say. Um, I honestly like. I think I'm less like I'm less optimistic about Aston Villa than it was last season. I feel like they're really starting to turn into maybe it's just because of like a less exciting squad now. But I think the consistency is still there. Like, was that? I think that match was kind of questionable against Leeds, but I guess at least for this, they're at home. They are playing Wolves, so like I wouldn't be too worried.
Yeah, I mean, you say less exciting squad. I guess that's what getting kicked out of the Champions League on the last day does to you. Just all your funds are gone. But I mean, we talked about that at the start of the season, actually, right? How they weren't able to do too much with their transfer window, and with that in mind, I think they've been pretty decent so far this season. Uh, they didn't start too well versus Leeds, but gradually they were able to take full control over the game. Um, and I think one thing that really helped them find their rhythm was good use of the bench. You had Mullen and Motson giving the game with speed, allowing Rogers then to step into pockets where he could better influence the match. And Rogers himself, he's one of the league's sharpest young attackers right now. He has the goals, but also he is persistently willing to carry the ball. He tests defenders and he makes things happen. Even if his team fades out a bit, he is always working. And I think Villa are very lucky to have him because even when it seems like their momentum might drop off, he is there to breathe some life into him. Uh, Generally, though, in this match, I think they didn't even necessarily need that. They showed a lot of composure overall. Their form has been good lately. and I think we'll see that continue.
Yeah. Real quick before I make my prediction, just on the Wolves. Rob Edwards, man, coming from Middlesbrough, there's a difference in quality when you're a team that's trying to get promoted vs a team that's desperately
Trying to get out
question
of
mark
the
trying to stay
drop
up
zone. Yeah.
question mark, but yeah, nominally trying to stay up. Let's say the official LinkedIn profile still says in the Premier League for now. Um, yeah, I'm sorry. Like literally, the team is so bad. Playing Rob Edwards' system directly led into the possession giveaway that led them to concede their second goal against Palace. By the way, so I feel like that goal was it's just very emblematic about how I think the rest of the season is going to go for Wolves. And I'll just say 3-0 Villa. Like I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I also have that. I think Wolves, as they always do, they will have one or two moments, but the lack of structure means they will not
And
find much.
realistically, they're gonna miss that. By the way.
Yeah, recurring finishing issues, and that'll be fatal. The finishing against a Villa side that they are settled, they're confident, and if you do give them control, which Wolves will, because again, their attacking identity is just non-existent. Villa will be ruthless, and they will roll through this one with authority. So I also have a 3-0 win.
All right. Well, then on to at least a more interesting match. Nottingham versus Brighton.
Okay, Nottingham to start, and I guess actually this game was not that traumatic for me. You know why? Because I hopped off by the second goal. So
Okay.
I
Right.
knew it wasn't happening after that, man. Uh, but
Man,
okay,
do you know how much possession you guys had, by the way?
no, I'm actually not aware
Sean
of the
Dyche,
end of it.
25% possession, 3-0 victory.
Yeah, I
Sean
do know
Dyche
that
masterclass.
it was exactly what you'd expect from a Sean Dyche masterclass. I think.
Fucking Sean Dyche masterclass, bro. Nottingham Forest is officially back. They're back. Chris G, never fear. Your Brexit savior is here. I don't know your politics, so I'm not going to comment on beyond that. But it's
Yeah,
a meme, you know. Was utter woke nonsense like an actual quote from him, or was that just like
I think
was that a real quote?
that might be a real quote. Yes, that might
Sean
be a real
Dyche.
quote.
Sean
Sean
Dyche.
Dyche.
Can't argue with results.
Um, it's a first clean sheet as well after 20 league games, so obviously the attack was great, but I think Murillo, Milenkovic, and Matt Sells have tightened things up at the back, which is great as well. And Elliot Anderson playing the best football of his Forest career.
Bro, why? Literally, run back the tape to our Premier League predictions video. I was talking about Elliot Anderson, bro. Respect,
Yeah,
respect the ball knowledge.
yeah.
This guy's good, man.
Respectarian,
I
man.
hope, I hope all of you put him on your FPL teams.
Mm.
I know I did.
Yeah, so he played obviously amazing. And Doy, Neko Williams, also some real vertical threat in the transition. And so the defense was stable and the attack was like they had threats from lots of different players. So really, they look like a team now that rather than trying to just survive the game, they are really playing with purpose. They're going out there and they're very much trying to win. They have that confidence now. Especially once they scored that first goal, they really did play like a team that expected to win here against this Big Six side. And I know Liverpool don't look especially threatening right now, but yeah, Nottingham were really in a rut not too long ago, and the mentality here I think has just changed so fast. And that is really what they needed. They needed their players to have some confidence in their ability to go out and win these games with so long as they had some actual good tactics. And they have good tactics, and now they have the energy to win. Yeah. I think they will, like, they're on good trajectory right now. What can I say?
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is losing Murillo in their Europa League match, and obviously having a fucking starting 11 of injuries, and having to play Savona as a starting fullback. With all due respect to Savona, yeah, but yeah, still solid squad. Um, really like the identity is back at the very least. Um, yeah, I think Morgan Gibbs White is also still out. So
Dude, who has a worse injury crisis right now? Tottenham or Nottingham? It's
it's the Ange
in-
Postecoglou curse. Everywhere he
Mm.
goes, they're fucked with injuries for
Yes. Well,
itinerary.
that's his play style, right?
That is his play style.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Ange. Okay.
Um. Yeah. They were so traumatized by Anfield that they had to get the exact opposite. They had to hard pivot, do like literally take his tactics, flip him 180 with Sean Dyche.
Then
Um,
what do you know? It's working, man. It's working
yeah,
well so
no,
far.
no, fair
Yeah.
enough, fair enough, fair enough. I'm not gonna critique it. Um, On to Brighton though. Listen, Danny Welbeck started the season so badly. 7 goals in the last 7 games, bro. This is Premier League experience. This is like when people talk about when a Premier League a big squad signs, a player that's already in the league. Like this is exactly what we're talking about. He knows exactly where to be. Amazing run for that goal in this last week. That's just the veteran experience of a guy like Danny Welbeck. He's not like the greatest finisher, but I think he has one of the best shots to goal conversion ratios in all of the big five leagues in Europe right now. Just because he's so good at making the right decision, right? Also, Minte, his consistency has been incredible. As you talked about, last 20 minutes of the game, turns up, flips the game on its head, and basically single handedly secures a Brighton victory. So yeah, the yeah. I mean, I'll let you speak first, but
Okay, the thing is, it really does feel like so many games for Brighton are just 10 minutes in, this is good. Halfway through, this is fucked. Full time, we won. This is amazing. This
right,
is this is how a
right.
Brighton game goes. And that Brentford match was exactly that. It was a good chance early from Minte, I will say, because there was like one good chance to start off the match, I think, for Brighton, and that was from him. They kept the ball, but they played disjointed for long stretches. Final third quality was atrocious, and Brentford were fully deserving of their lead. But then the 60th minute comes, and Brighton, they did what they always seem to be able to do just at any random point in a match, like any random point in the second half. They come back and they overwhelm you with just waves of pressure. Minte comes in, rips the match open. He gets his own shot. He gets an outrageous cross for Welbeck. Again, great goal from Welbeck as well. He's also playing very consistent. And then another run from Minte that eventually led to Hinshelwood's winner. Uh, so it really feels like this team can just come out of nowhere. Of course, I should also mention Verbruggen had nothing to do all game besides try and save that one goal. Became the hero with a last minute pen save. That's Brighton. It is damn hard to call these guys because they've had everything this season from wins versus City and Chelsea to a 4-2 loss to kickstart United, and now this. It's very hard to say what's going to go on with this team, but I just will say they are always in it for the win. Then they are always capable of flipping a match on its head. So if I was ever going to watch a Brighton match, it would be full 90 minutes. Lord knows what's going to happen when this team is playing.
That fair enough. The other thing though is they're just like Newcastle in that like what all you talked about that is what we call a home phenomenon. Now on the road, I know they did beat Chelsea that one time, but for the most part on the road, that is not the same experience. It is actually flipped. Starts out well and then ends up with holy shit, how do we lose that match? Um, so yeah, what are we thinking for this one?
It's hard to say. Okay, Forest, they look great right now. Obviously, they're organized. They're confident on and off the ball. Brighton's chaos factor is again very hard to predict. Though they are away, and like you said, it doesn't quite work out for them there. And another thing I will say, Anderson is in the form of his life, and then you look at Brighton, and Carlos Baleba is questionable.
He's not. He's
Questionable
not
right
in the
now.
form of his life.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of because or like when Man U were trying to go for him, Brighton were saying like give us £100 million, please. He's not anywhere close to that form right now. And I don't know that Rudder and Iari are consistently good either, so they have some issues in that midfield. And add to that them being bad away from home so far this season. I think they can find a goal. They do have the attacking threats, but like I don't expect a win from them away in the form that they're in right now. Not least against Nottingham, who are great at home. And so I'll give it a 2-1. to Forest.
I'm just because of that Murillo injury and because Nottingham is completely cooked right now. Like every time like they go back to their flow state, something unfortunate happens, and so I'm a little worried. I'm gonna be more cautious and go for 1-1 draw.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
let's
Oh,
move on because I
does that mean
listen.
does that mean our approaches have flipped here? By the way, so I have the 2-1 now, and you've got the 1-1.
Right, I
Yeah.
suppose, but I think yeah, I suppose so.
Okay.
Let's move on though, because listen, I want to hear you talk about this. I want to hear you talk about this. Introduce this next match, please, please, please. Go ahead. Go ahead.
West Ham, um, are okay. They're playing about where they should be, I think.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
Yeah.
Liverpool
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
not okay.
mm.
Not playing where we should be in the slightest, man. Okay, who do you want to start with is my question. Should we honestly, I'm not so sure about that. I can actually talk
What
about
do you
that
mean?
right now.
Not so
Okay.
sure about what? I didn't say anything. What? What? What are you talking about? I didn't say
Okay,
anything.
okay. I genuinely have no idea what I should be saying about Liverpool because I swear, as soon as we get scored on first in a league game, we fall apart like fucking puff pastry, and there's just I don't know how we're supposed to fix that. I look at the Nottingham game, the first half hour seemed fine, and the moment the first goal goes in, everything unravels. It's another nightmare performance for Kanate, giveaways, failed clearances, general confusion for him and the rest of the backline because we couldn't get Gahey, we don't have Leone, we don't have Frimpong, we now don't have Bradley. We've got
Here we have the
Soboslai.
classic Liverpool
Got
fan
Soboslai
who
stuck
spends
at left
after
right
his
back.
team spends $400 million complaining about how they weren't able to also sign Mark Gahey.
Okay, but
we only spent 400 million. 500 million would have
to
done the
be
trick.
fair, all our other players in that position are also fucked right now. I don't know how it's happened that it's right back specifically where everybody is gone, and we're lucky that Sobo is actually good at right back. But that's not good. We shouldn't have him there if we can help it. He
By the way, I
should
have
be.
not seen him play good at right back in the last few matches.
That's also
He
true.
hasn't
His
even been
form has dropped
like
off.
he used to be. He was once good at
Yeah.
right back. That's what I would say.
But I wouldn't expect him to be consistently good that like out of position either. He shouldn't be. He really should
Yeah.
not be. I think it's a very unfortunate situation. And speaking of Sobo, this guy is seriously the only player that's giving me any hope for this squad at all. It seems like every other starter is having a bad performance at least every other game. And people are saying the sack Slot. If I was Slot, I think I'd have left the club myself by now. I would be
Yeah.
gone. What do you do here when practically everyone is playing like shit at some point in time? During the international window, I said move to a 4-3-3. He did. We still lost by 3 to Nottingham. We still lost by 3 to PSV. Both at home. The right back issue does not excuse those margins in the slightest. So seriously, I have nothing right now. I don't know. I have no suggestions
Okay,
for Arne Slot.
answer the question. Do you sack Arne Slot, man? You're the one who needs Liverpool to do well. You know,
Right.
I'm like, listen, I'm cool with having 3 Premier League winners in 3 years. That's great, league parity, awesome. But you tell me.
I think give Arne Slot another 2 games, and if he can't fucking man up and take some of these terrible players off the roster, where is my Chiesa, by the way? Where is Federico Chiesa?
You gotta start. You play Chiesa and how the fuck you say it? Rio. Let's say Rio.
And
Chiesa
Momoa,
and Rio,
yeah.
man.
If I don't see one of those two on a starting roster in the next 2 games, get him the hell out of there. Because he's not the issue on his own. The issue are the players. But if he can't man up and get some of those like players who have been great for the club, they're club legends, and right now they're playing like absolute dog water. If he can't get them off the starting roster, then get him out of the club. Yeah.
Okay. I think it is his fault because what I'm seeing is Liverpool players are not trying anymore, and I think that has to stem from losing the dressing room. Because we didn't
Okay.
see this ever from Tottenham under Ange Postecoglou, for example. I don't think we saw it like this with Amarin so far. This is why I've been a proponent of keeping those 2 managers, and I don't want to say sack Slot, but I'm a lot less confident here because I think he's actually lost the dressing room, and I don't know if that's recoverable. Um, yeah, like I think we're in a situation where the players think they're trying, but they're not actually trying. And this match, I will say, if Liverpool don't beat West Ham, then I will switch to sack Arne slot.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
not there yet, but I'm on the precipice.
Yeah, that's fair. Because it is a game we absolutely should be winning. I
You
mean,
have to
Nuno's
win
not a
this.
bad manager, but we have to. We have to get back
Man,
to form somewhere.
if you lose this match, you're gonna have more than half of your Premier League matches being losses.
Yes, yeah, we will.
In December, it will be December
Yeah.
by the end of this match week. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
man.
sack him by the next one. If we lose, I can't. Yeah, I can't blame you for that.
Yeah.
Anything we want to say about West Ham at all?
Um.
Uh,
I mean, listen. In their last game, they played like absolute dog shit. The most fraudulent fucking draw I've ever seen in my life. Fucking Callum Wilson was just like turning back the clock. Apparently. Um. I'm gonna say it's a 1-1 draw because these teams are both dog shit. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There's a
I
lot of
think
soul searching that needs to happen.
for both of them, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, just we have too many issues that we made little to no progress on over the break. And West Ham, they don't seem super composed like Nottingham do. Even still, I think we will have trouble being in cohesive in attack, just as we are now. Um, we will not be able to take advantage of West Ham's openings like we should be able to. And so I think Liverpool score one, West Ham find one as well at some point. It is a 1-1 draw for me. And I don't think Sack's slot off the draw. I do think if he loses, he's gone. Yeah.
Okay. What's your next match after this? Do you know?
Chelsea. You mean next match for us? Is it man?
Yeah.
Is it? It's either City or it's Madrid.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's
Oh
Oh fuck!
no.
No. You know what? Is it? No, Madrid's actually a while later. We have Sunderland coming up.
Sunderland. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm seeing West Ham, Sunderland, Leeds. And because of fixture congestion, those are going to be like matches that are happening very close together.
Right.
So we could see, I think, very possible that within a week or two, that's it for our slide. It's over.
Yeah.
I don't even know who you bring at that point. I don't even know if Jurgen Klopp is willing to even play for even manager for like. The
I don't know
season,
what
because
Jurgen Klopp's doing at Red Bull right now. He seems pretty happy there, to be honest.
yeah,
I don't
I
know
don't
what
know
to
who you
say.
bring in, like fucking Steven Gerrard. I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe like I don't. I feel like the season might be a lost cause at this point. To
Yeah,
be
I
honest.
think so. We'd be like the title's gone. The title's gone. I'm just gonna be
The
clear.
title's been gone.
I don't think, but like I was a little bit hopeful, but it's like after 3-0 to Nottingham and 4-1 loss to PSV, it's gone.
Yeah.
Um, we'd be
At
lucky to get
Anfield.
you. We'd be lucky to get UCL at this point.
Um.
I mean, okay,
Yeah.
maybe not lucky, maybe not lucky, but
I
we
still
can.
think Liverpool should finish top four. I really do. I
Okay,
think just with the level of talent, it's inexcusable.
yeah. Shit, who's fucking Vincent Company? I don't know. Vincent
Vincent
Company is
Company.
good with.
He's well, why would he join you guys? What the
Yeah, he he is suitable. Unfortunately, he has a
he's
better
gonna
team
leave
right now.
Bayern Munich to fucking
Yeah,
put your piss
unfortunately,
poor
he
down in
he
the dumps
he has a better
pools?
team right now. The thing is,
Yeah.
because I remember when Bayern signed him, it was like, oh, people were saying, oh, he's good with teams that are strong. He's good with the real strong roster. Maybe he can do well there. And what do you know? He is. We're not getting him. It's too late for us at this point. Um, who to bring in? I don't even know who's available right now on the manager
Oh
market.
shit. Um.
Well, we can discuss this for next episode, I think. If it
Yeah.
turns out that it's a loss, then yeah, we will be thinking for sure about who comes in.
Yeah. If it turns out
Because
it's
at
a
that
loss,
at
that's
that
game
point,
over.
I think Slot is gone. Slot is gone.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well, for now, this is the marquee matchup of the week. An unlikely title race could be one way to describe this because it is first via second in the table right now, and Chelsea are at home, and if they win this match, they're only 3 points off top. So, yeah, tell me what you think.
I think they have decent momentum, Chelsea, but there are very much some lingering questions. I had some concerns about the midfield in particular against Burnley. I know of like 2-0 was enough to keep them toward the top of the table, of course, but it was an uneven performance. There was some early sluggishness from like Neto and Fernandez that allowed
You know
Burnley
what
a
it
few potential
was?
chances.
What
Yeah.
it was, I feel like, was Burnley had so many half chances, but Andre Santos. Wait, okay. Can you actually put up like the SofaScore map of all of the interceptions and tackles he had?
Okay.
He was all over the pitch.
Right.
If it weren't for him, it would have been actual trouble against Burnley.
Yeah. He did really well coming in for Caicedo, and but even still, like the rhythm that in control Chelsea would usually have just were not there fully in this match. I do think against Barca though they played quite well. Fernandez and Caicedo, they dominated physically. They controlled the tempo. Estevao was then able to exploit space at pace. Um, and so yeah, they still have their attacking threats, and it's just that they've been a bit inconsistent. That's the
And
thing.
respect Cucurella, by the way. Respect Cucurella. Locked up Lamine Yamal. Um, yeah,
Yeah, that was a fun game to watch.
yeah.
Um, I think yeah, like Delap is inconsistent, and these other guys played real well against Barca. But again, there were problems against Burnley, and so could that pop up again here? I don't
I will
know.
say though, they did do a fair bit of rotating. Like for example, Moises Caicedo. It was not like he was injured, right?
Right.
So I'm not gonna. I'm not too worried about that. Barca is also like an overperformance because of the red card, but they were still I think dominating before then.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
I think like they can expect strong scoring chances here, and at least a goal for Chelsea, so long as the midfield can assert itself early.
the thing is though, all that like if they play Caicedo Santos midfield to deal with the Arsenal threat, I think that's the best thing they can do for the double pivot. But Arsenal still have like they still have Eberechi Eze and they still have Declan Rice who is playing freaking amazing. Like this guy locked up the Bayern midfield in that one match. We said like last episode, whoever wins that match is the best team in the world. Arsenal dominated. So
Okay, yeah, like with Arsenal, I mean it's two thumping wins, right? And I have said before, this team's defense is of course amazing, best in the world. Their offense doesn't always hit. Their offense is fucking hitting now. They have
yeah,
great control of the midfield by Rice and Zubimendi, which then allows for a very fluid attack. Saka, Trossard to give them width. Marino going into the half spaces as a supporting forward. Eze screwing over Tottenham as always. Amazing performances from him. And while they did have a set piece goal against Bayern, they also had two goals from Madueke and Martinelli that showed some strong, structured build-up. So they're finding goals in lots of different ways through lots of different players. And it's like you said during the break, whoever wins between Arsenal and Bayern is the best in the world. Arsenal demolished Bayern. They found opportunities to score from all sorts of different people. I haven't even mentioned the defense. I basically haven't mentioned the defense, which is was still strong even without Gabriel. So what can I say? For the players they've got right now, they've been playing almost perfect.
I mean, this is like people joke about the rebuild, but like they're now at a point where you don't want to face up against Incape either, right? Like, you lose like your starting center backs. This is the depth now. They have that in every single position. You can play Marino as a false nine, and he will free up space. And look at like they signed Eze, who is somebody who is a chaos agent in those spaces, right? So, like it's all coming together for Arsenal. They almost feel sort of inevitable, in a way. Um, I would also say like I think it also comes into like they're really getting rid of all the weaknesses. Last season, I think Arsenal's biggest weakness was they couldn't break down a low block, but against Tottenham, like shit, every chance they got, like 6, 7 players in the box for them or near it at least. So I think I don't even see like what could even be a weakness for Arsenal at this point.
Yeah, I think honestly with this game, the midfielders, especially Chelsea's, are going to decide how competitive this gets. I do think when Fernandez and Caicedo are in full control, like they were against Barcelona, Chelsea can create some real tempo. They can open up space for Estevao and Neto. get Delap into scoring positions, even if he hasn't been consistent with them. But that rhythm can drop off. We saw it against Burnley. The whole structure loosens. And Arsenal are exactly the type of team to punish that. And Arsenal right now look as complete as they have ever been under Arteta. They are a stable, elite defense, a midfield that can control almost every phase of the game, and again, an attack that is scoring in every possible way. Set pieces, build up, counter attacks, wide combinations, everything. They have everything with this attack. So I think Chelsea can create enough pressure to score once, but Arsenal just have too many routes to goal. Their defense is too strong to let up more than a single goal from Chelsea. Too much control that this team has. One big, and even individually, one big moment from Eze and Saka could easily tilt the match as well.
Fucking Yuri and Timber just, getting set piece goals out of nowhere. Like,
Right.
Calafiori slinging crosses. It's crazy how Calafiori knows where to be at all times. Like, the defensive solidity of a traditional left back and the offensive strength of like a Miles Lewis Skelly. I didn't think it'd be possible to so perfectly do both and not like expose yourself to transition. But he's figured out a way.
Yeah. The whole team is strong. Seriously. Everyone is doing well right now. And even if one or two players drop off, I think their team is just so complete right now.
They low-key kind of have an injury crisis right now too. That's like the craziest part
that's
of this.
true. It'll be a 2-1 Arsenal for me. I think
Yeah, I also have a 2-1 Arsenal.
if Chelsea manage to find another goal, I think Arsenal make it 3-2. So like
they have a response for everything.
I'll take I think it's 1 goal margin, and if I need to, I'll take my 2-point margin points on it.
I don't see like just overall like how this Arsenal squad can be even beaten at this point.
Yeah. How do you break this team down? Because they have everything. Seriously.
And by the way, if they do win this match, that's a 7-point gap from Manchester City, 9-point gap from Chelsea. Obviously, like I don't know who else. I think if they win this, okay. If they do win this match, is that the title? Is it this wrap?
I think it is. Yes.
That's great because this match, like, think about what we're saying right now. Imagine saying this to someone just like 6 months ago. There is a possibility that by the end of November, we can confidently say Arsenal is going to win the Premier League. Think about that.
Yeah. But just
that's what we're staring.
And it's not because like they're not that far ahead points wise to make it a secure thing, but they're just on such good form.
But if it is 7 points, that is really significant of a difference.
That's true. But also the thing is like they can keep that up. We can expect now that they can keep that form going.
And we can expect everybody else cannot. We also know that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean,
this is a must-watch game because this is a must-watch game. This is probably
the last stand against an Arsenal Premier League is fucking Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all for this video then. But we're gonna have match predictions again quite soon, yes? Because I think we've got a midweek set of matches.
A lot of match weeks coming very soon.
So come back middle of next week, and we will let you know. 1, has Arsenal already won the title? And 2, what the fuck is gonna happen to Arne Slot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, we might talk about World Cup groups. Those are coming up soon as well.
Ooh.
Just saying.
We may need another separate video for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, please. I'll watch Canada's gonna get fucking drawn with like fucking Colombia.
Who do we have in the pods, by the way, that we could go against? It's
well, I mean, it's too many. There's so many teams, obviously, but because there's like 12 teams in every pot. What that does mean is I think like there's less like pot 2 is less scary than I think it used to be. Like in the past, it's fucking Germany's in pot 2 now. At least like I don't want to face Morocco or Croatia or whatever, but like at least we're not gonna face fucking Germany in pot 2.
Okay, yeah, that's all for this video. Then thank you everyone for watching this far, and stay tuned because we will have lots more content coming over this next week or two. No.
Yes.
Have a good one.
And subscribe.
Yes, do that.